Welcome back to Poorly Educated Today in the News, and boy howdy. America is looking like a yard sale after a tornado. Ain't nothing where it's supposed to be. Half of it's broken, and the government's standing outside asking if anybody's seen their wallet. January 28th, 2026 has turned this country into a full-blown contradiction. Kinda like when your cousin says business is booming, but he's calling you from behind a Dollar General begging for a ride. We're rich, we're broke, we're strong, we're crumbling, we're free. We're fighting each other in the frozen streets. Basically, America's doing CrossFit, and it's not looking good. All right, y'all, let's jump into the mess. Segment 1. Minnesota's federal standoff explodes. Minnesota is out here living through its own episode of CSI Cold State Investigation, except nobody knows who's in charge and everybody's mad about it. The situation started with a fatal encounter between DHS agents and a civilian, and now the whole state looks like a family reunion where someone mentioned politics. Federal agents were out in the streets like they were auditioning for an action movie nobody asked for, and Minnesota officials were standing there like, "Sir, this is a Wendy's." Governor Walz is demanding answers, DHS is demanding authority, and Minneapolis is demanding a break before February shows up and asks what the heck just happened. Meanwhile, Tom Homan flew in to calm things down, which is kind of like trying to put out a grease fire with hairspray. He met with state leaders, called it productive, which in political speak translates to, "We yelled at each other politely and nobody flipped a table." The whole country's watching like it's the season finale of a show we didn't subscribe to. And if you want a symbol of American confusion, just picture a snow-covered patrol truck stuck on black ice while its driver tries to radio in that everything is under control. Spoiler, it ain't. Segment 2. Shutdown Showdown in Washington. Next up, Congress is once again approaching a shutdown like it's a beloved national tradition. We got Senate Democrats standing firm saying, "No DHS funding bill until ICE follows the Constitution." And then you got the Trump administration standing firm saying, "Constitution? Never heard of her." But here's the twist. Thanks to last year's One Big Beautiful Bill, ICE and CBP already got enough money to run for what feels like 3 more presidencies and 2 Super Bowls. So if the government shuts down, the agencies Democrats are mad at keep running full speed, while TSA agents, Coast Guard crews, and military families get paid in hopes and dreams. It's like grounding your kid to punish his brother. The House is on recess, which is politician speak for "we saw a problem, so we left." And now we're staring at a Friday deadline like it's the world's worst surprise party. Half the government shuts down, the other half keeps making mistakes, and the American people get the bill. As usual. Segment 3. Winter Storm Fern freezes the South. Meanwhile, Winter Storm Fern rolled in like a drunk uncle with a snowblower, messing up half the country and reminding us that infrastructure in the South is held together with duct tape, hope, and the Lord's favor. We're talking 402,000 people without power, trees snapping like pretzels, and the ice getting so thick it looks like someone shrink-wrapped Mississippi. The freeze line dipped so far south, Florida started Googling, "Do oranges survive the apocalypse?" Wind chills in the Midwest went full Arctic. Pittsburgh got dumped on, St. Louis looked like a shaken snow globe, and Texas, oh Texas, lost power again. Texas losing electricity is becoming such a tradition, they ought to put it on the state flag. Utility crews are out there rebuilding entire grids, replacing poles, wires, and whatever other doodads the storm stole. And through all of this, people in rural counties are sitting in the dark, wondering why America can build a skyscraper in Dubai, but can't keep the lights on in a storm. That's the million-dollar question. And ironically, we spent the $1 million on something else. Segment 4. Operation Absolute Resolve and the Discombobulator. Now let's talk about the overseas madness. The U.S. kicked off 2026 with Operation Absolute Resolve, which sounds like a protein shake, but turned out to be a full-on military operation, taking down the Venezuelan government in one night. They captured Maduro, flew him to New York, and President Trump claimed he used a secret weapon called the discombobulator. Now look, anytime your president uses the word discombobulate, it's either real high-tech or real made-up. Trump said Venezuelan defenses just stopped working like somebody hit Control, plus Alt plus Delete on the whole country. Experts say maybe it was electronic warfare, maybe sonic interference, maybe just Venezuela's systems being held together with paper clips. Either way, the whole operation went down faster than my cousin's internet connection whenever it rains. But the funniest part? The Pentagon has no idea what Trump's talking about. They're like, "Sir, the what now?" So either he revealed a classified superweapon, or he named an air freshener the discombobulator and got confused. Honestly, both feel possible. Segment 5. Trump's Board of Peace shakeup. Then we got the new global project Trump unveiled at Davos, the Board of Peace. Now, if that sounds like a Facebook group your aunt accidentally joined, don't worry, you're not alone. Trump basically said, "Why use the United Nations when I can build my own with blackjack and membership fees?" Membership costs $1 billion, which means this isn't a peace board. It's a Costco with diplomatic privileges. Jared Kushner unveiled plans for New Gaza, including luxury towers and a marina, because nothing says post-conflict recovery like yacht parking. European countries declined to join, probably because it looked like a theme park brochure, but several Middle Eastern nations signed up, likely hedging their bets in case Trump names himself Global Emperor or something. Meanwhile, the Palestinian Authority was handed a list of demands longer than a CVS receipt, including banning Hamas from elections. It's diplomacy by subscription model, and apparently business is booming. Segment 6. America's AI boom and the Latino GDP engine. Finally, while everything else is crumbling like a stale biscuit, the U.S. economy is doing backflips. The S&P 500 hit 7,000 for the first time ever, thanks mostly to AI companies making servers hot enough to cook fajitas on. NVIDIA, Intel, Texas Instruments. The whole gang is printing money faster than the Treasury. But here's the real twist. The Latino population is basically holding the entire economy upright like the world's strongest uncle at a barbecue. Over $1 trillion in economic output in California alone. Higher labor participation, faster growth, more entrepreneurship. Turns out the people politicians keep complaining about are the ones keeping the lights on. Literally and financially. The Fed kept interest rates steady, probably because Jerome Powell is afraid Trump might replace him with a magic 8-ball. Inflation's still sticky, but the AI hype train is running at full throttle, and nobody wants to be the one to admit it might derail. In conclusion, America today looks like a truck with chrome rims and no engine, shiny, loud, and somehow still rolling downhill. We got international raids, homemade peace clubs, storms wrecking states, shutdowns loom in, and an economy that's booming on the surface while the basement floods. But that's America, baby. We may be confused, chaotic, contradictory, and half-frozen, but we're still showing up for the show. Stay warm, stay aware, and stay poorly educated. More news next time.